So there we go. We're back in. It's another week. It's Super League Raw weekly. Welcome as always. Good evening to you, Greg. How are you,
sir? Good evening, sir. I'm very well. How are you?
It's a bit later than normal. Later than normal. We're still here.
Yes. Sorry about that. My fault, everyone.
Yeah, your fault.
Never mind. We're here now.
We'll get that in early. Just sharing with the community. It won't be a moment like we normally do. That's that done. That filthy task out of the way. Hopefully, we're going to get a good crowd in tonight as we normally do, and we'll see where the conversation takes us. Good week of Super League again, Greg. Good week of Super League
games.
Again.
Yeah, some good games. I don't think there was a dull game again this week. They've both been very good games. A lot of talking points.
Lots of talking points. We'll be getting through them.
A lot of coaches and players now coming out and getting involved in some discussions.
Indeed, yes. We'll be certainly touching upon them as we go through it. You're quite right. Lots to get through tonight. Lots to get through. Obviously, caught me a little bit off guard. One of the main things we're going to be talking about tonight. Weren't aware that it was due, but it was due, which was of course the England squad, and we'll be talking about that in a bit of detail. But like we normally do, to start the show, let's take a quick look at some of the things that we're going to be talking about early doors in tonight's show. Starting with here we go, making the news. So, as we've said, the England squad announced today. We'll have a little look at that training squad. Beware of the Queensland Dolphins. What's all that about? Well, we'll go through that in a little bit, in a little while's time. Martin Sadler, big fan of Martin's. I do like reading Martin Sadler's columns. Great journalist in rugby league. However, he might have had an April Fool in March in this week's League Express. I'll be sharing that one with you if you haven't seen it, and I'm sure I'll be getting a few chuckles from Greg along on that one. And then finally, travelling kids for £1. Just a little bit on that before we get into the action of round number 3. So we may as well just dive straight into it, Greg. Here it is, the England team that he's going to be meeting up for the training camp. Couple of very surprising omissions, I would have, and also certainly one very surprising admission, which is Dan Sargentson. Don't quite get at all.
I don't quite get that one. No, Mike McMeekin. It was absolutely outstanding this weekend, playing as prop for the Dragons.
Yeah,
absolutely outstanding.
Versatile. He's like a potato waffle, mate.
I wouldn't call him
that. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, we're a big fan of Mike McMeekin's, and we are. I mean, in terms of, Jake Connor, especially off the back of this week's performance against Salford,
he was superb this week. Yeah,
9 levels picked over Jake Connor. I don't quite get that one.
I can only think it's because he's been suspended, stroke injured.
Yeah,
that he's been overlooked.
Yeah,
There are some. I'm glad to see Pierce Paul in there.
Yeah, I am. He deserves that. He's, again, we've been very impressed with him.
Jermaine McGilvery. Not too sure about that, to even being honest.
Well, Tom Johnson. I mean, obviously, we know that Tom Johnson had his injury problems last year, but on his day, Tom Johnson, Jermaine McGilvery, Tom Johnson. For me, it's a Tom Johnson all day long, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Riesling in there. I think he's quite an underrated player and does a good job for Wakefield.
Tom Davis as well, Catalan, good to see. Tom Davis in there.
Certainly.
Ryan Hall. I mean, I like Ryan Hall, but I mean, again, you look at Ryan Hall, and again, the Tom Johnson debate. Ryan Hall, really, is he going to be? Is it right that Ryan Hall is knocking around this? I mean, I saw an interview of him today where he seems very surprised himself. Happy, of course, but quite surprised.
As we've said a lot with Rugby League, a lot of times it's reputation over performance. We see it week in, certainly last season, when Sky were giving the man of matches out, it's reputation rather than performance.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think, a lot of international sport has this where coaches don't have the courage to pick new faces.
I'll tell you an interesting one.
Sorry, Dave, but no matter how well they're playing, they always fall back on the same old names, the reputations, rather than giving somebody else who might just be a surprise package for the opposition. You're not telling me Australia, New Zealand, France, whoever don't know anything about most of these players. Pierce Paul might be a bit of an unknown quantity to them. But there's a couple of others that might be an unknown quantity to them. But you're not telling me that they've not got the number on these guys, the Aussies and the New Zealanders.
Yeah, but let's not forget there's going to be an NRL contingent that will come into this for the World Cup. But I think, and I'm sure the Castleford fans won't like me for this one. I mean, I say that Castleford fans won't like me for this one. Joe Westerman not knocking about. I mean, obviously you'd expect Morgan Knowles to start at 13. But, as a backup, I'm surprised Joe
Westerman has been absolutely superb this season. I think he's been Castleford's best player.
But here's one for you, right? Paul McShane. On quality player, man of steel, but at the moment this season looks
not firing.
Just not firing. No. Sam Powell, Wigan Warriors, question mark. Would it have been probably the right thing? I mean, because the thing about this squad for me is, and I'll use Paul McShane as a great example here. If Paul McShane is going to get called into this squad based on his first 3 outings to Super League, where's the incentive for the rest of the season to pull his socks up? If Paul McShane is dropped from this squad, actually, Castleford fans, it might have done you a favour, because it might have been.
I agree 100%.
I need to get going here in this season because my place in the World Cup is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Because and I think this is where he's missing the trick as well, Sean Wayne, because he's almost guaranteeing certain players a slot into. I mean, we were having this debate last year on the squads that he picked for last year. Dan Sargent's time, with the greatest respect, great servant to the game. He's been a good pro, but should he be anywhere near an England squad?
Well, he's disciplined for a start. I mean, I think he's been suspended again, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think he has been. No, he's back, isn't he? I think he's back this week, isn't he?
Did he get suspended this week again? Yeah, I think he did. I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that. I'm sure he got suspended this week again. But let's pick players. I mean, it's early. Let's face it. We've got another 8 months to the World Cup.
Yeah, you're right.
It is early.
Sargent has been suspended.
He had been, yeah.
Yes.
And we've got 8 months.
Yeah.
But you have to give incentive to other players as well.
I agree.
All right, Sam Tompkins. We know he's going to be a shoo-in. It's Sean Wade. He loves him. And as captain, not sure about that one, to be honest.
Well, let's give a few shouts out, Greg. Let's do what we usually do. Andrew King, good evening, sir. Kevin Thompson, Mike Ward, Chris Percival, Denise Shanks, Graham Parrish, as always, is with us, Harry Yates and Wayne Waters. A couple of new names there. And, of course, the ever-consistent Mr. Stephen Cartledge is on as well. I think, that'll run and run and run. But, hey, it's only March. We're a long way off the World Cup.
Exactly. We're a long way off. Let's give some hope to some players.
Yeah.
Who are actually playing well.
Absolutely.
We're round 4 this weekend. Let's see where we go with it.
David Wolford has just joined us as well. Yes, get involved, guys. Get into the live chat. See, Steve's already got in there talking about Darryl Clark. Yeah, get into the chat. We'll give you a shout out. We'll, get involved in the debate as we're going through the show. Lots to get through as we go through. If you're new to us, plenty of little goodies on the way. Right, this is an interesting one for you, Greg. Beware the Queensland Dolphins. As you know, next season the NRL is going to expand. The Queensland Dolphins, headed up by Wayne Bennett, is going to be coming into the NRL. Interesting news coming out of the NRL as well. I mean, this is quite eye-watering. Last year, 2021, revenues of 575 million Australian dollars, with a in the bank profit of 160 million, and actually sharing 11 million of those dollars with the players. If only that could happen in England.
That's the year when COVID.
And that was there when COVID hit. Now, here's the interesting thing. Loads of articles in terms of the World Cup. Obviously, with the expansion of the NRL, there are going to, of course, be another squad there that needs to be filled. And, a lot of people believe that certainly the World Cup is going to be used by agents to look at the likes of Morgan Knowles, Alex Walmsley's being touted, Will Price is being touted today, but
I saw that today,
of going over there. So, yeah, I mean, from a Super League perspective, beware the Queensland Dolphins. It could be an interesting end of season this year.
It could very well, yeah. Again, players will be able to put themselves in the shop window.
Yeah.
Not just for England, but for New Zealand, for France, for other teams as well.
Yeah.
Queensland Dolphins. Strange.
Yeah, it's an interesting name, but there you go. It's as good as any, I suppose.
I
just feel that's something for Super League fans to consider. Let's hope that the best talent in Super League doesn't start to disappear. Because let's be fair, when you're looking at those numbers in terms of profits, the health of the Australian game, and the fact that actually the sharing revenues from the sport with the players, I mean, that's a hell of an incentive.
You can only dream about that in our game at this moment in time. I'd like to think one day the game will be there.
Yeah.
We've had some positive moves in the right direction this season after a long time of kind of a lot of negativity around the sport. The Channel 4 deal, viewing figures, other things. There's a bit of positivity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's build on that. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot, RFL.
No.
Let's build on it.
Well, and that actually goes on to a different story in terms of shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, a lot of people coming out over the new interpretations of the head high tackle. This week, Josh Griffin's come out as well. Steve McNamara's come out and had comments. Of course, Tony Smith was last week. He had quite a bit to say. So quite a few players now and coaches coming out, a bit disgruntled that they weren't consulted. They've got their own personal views on at the moment, as much as, yes, we need to look after player welfare, at the same token, to sell the sport and for the sport to be attractive, we need to make sure that the punishments are the right levels, because the last thing we want is 12s against 12s and the product not looking good.
There's been a high number of yellows and reds in the first 2 games. I mean, Frimo getting 2 games for that. I'm sorry.
No.
We have to make a distinction. And we've said this last season, if a player is going down and contact with the head is made, that is not a high shot. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, it's contact with the head, but let's have some common sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I'm just looking
if this is such an issue, then get players to wear head guards, mandatory head guards.
Mm-hmm.
If we're even punishing accidental contact with the head with a 2-game ban, they'll be running out with strips of material on the shorts in a few years' time instead of full-on contact.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, without question, some sort of big Al's in the room. Andy Irwin, good evening. Ricky Louise Wolford, good evening to you. Alex Holden, Philip Ashley, Greg Roach, few names there that I don't recognise. Great to have you along.
Yeah.
I think the point around head guards is a good one. If you're going to start, what a great place that'd be to start if you mean business, that a head guard is compulsory.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I mean, in amateur boxing, it's mandatory, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's another area of getting sponsorship for your team,
or for a player sponsorship,
or for a player, team player. Head guard sponsored by, I don't know, whoever.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I know a lot of players will probably disagree with that and don't feel comfortable in wearing a head guard. But if we're serious,
Yeah.
and we want to see an end to these, I won't say ridiculous, but over the top decisions, let's say,
Yeah.
and players getting banned for 2 games. You know, there's going to come a point where we're not going to be able to field a team.
No, absolutely not, mate. And we don't and we don't want that, do we? We don't want that.
You know, we want players to be. We want player welfare. That in the present state that we're in the state of play we have today in 2022, players' welfare is paramount. So okay, and I'm not going to. Somebody will say, well, next we'll be wearing helmets like American football. That you know, I'm not agreeing with that.
No.
Let's
You can leave
it.
We leave our helmets at home, don't we?
We certainly do, sir.
We leave our helmets at home.
Yeah, let's get Chrissy Hill wears a head guard. Let's get head guards if it's such an issue, as I say, mandatory head guards.
Right, I thought that I've got to tip my hat to the Facebook page Rugby League Banter. We actually shared it on our fans forum page. The Lee Radford OBE. I thought that was absolute genius on the part of whoever posted that one. We love a bit of banter, but I have to say it was closely rivaled this week by my good friend Martin Sadler. I like Martin Sadler. Like
He's
I
a
said,
good journalist.
He's a good journalist. However, this is a shocker. So, Martin Sadler, let's share with the good folks at home. If you haven't seen this, you haven't bought League Express this week, you might have missed this. This is what Martin had to say. This is his proposal for season 2024 and beyond. And basically, what he said was one reason why the first Channel 4 game was so attractive was because of Warrington's opening try by Gareth Widdop from a move that began deep in Warrington's own half. So why not give 5 or even 6 points for a try that arises directly from a play the ball? Widdop's didn't arrive from that. A scrum?
No.
Didn't arrive from that. A kick? Nope. Or an interception from inside the team's own half. So none of those actually contributed to the above, which I found quite interesting. However, this is his idea in terms of spectacular tries. That a spectacular try should be awarded more points. Now, I think our game, we tinker with the rules too much. The referees have hard enough job as it is interpreting basic rugby league rules. I mean, you know. So what we're saying is, you know, if Josh Charnley's running down the ring and down the wing and decides to do a forward roll in the corner to complete his try, is that a spectacular try? Yeah. To Josh, it is. To to the Warrington fans, it is. But you know, the referee's going, no, you're not having 5 points for that, son, or 6 points. That's a 4-point try. I mean,
Paul McShane decides to moonwalk over from 5 yards. You know,
mate, I like Martin, so I really do like him, but that is one of the most.
Now, who decides what's a spectacular try or not?
No. Mate, exactly, mate. We can't even decide what's a head-eye tackle, let alone what a spectacular try is.
Maybe go down the rugby. Oh, I said it again, rugby union. I
don't mention that.
I know. I'm sorry. That's me. But maybe a bonus point if you score an X amount of tries in a game. And then a losing bonus point. I mean, absolutely ridiculous in my opinion that you have to introduce bonus points for scoring tries. But if we want to reward a team for spectacular rugby. Spectacular. Give a bonus point for number of tries scored. But no, Martin, I think you're
well, he's lost the plot on that one. Steve just come in. He said head guards aren't even required in junior rugby league. That's a good point, actually.
It is.
Very, very good point from Steve there. To be fair, and then finally, I just want to, again, well done to Wakefield. I mean, at the start of the season, Warrington went to Headingley for the Channel 4 game and offered £1 ticket on the bus to get there and fan out the crowd. Wakefield are doing exactly the same for Warrington, which is great because obviously we want the Channel 4 games to appear well on the TV. But here's an interesting one. I was having this chat with a friend of mine tonight while I was watching my son play football. I think there's a bit of mileage here in terms of not only the buses, but for example, I mean, Warrington this Friday night are offering children for £1 within a company an adult in the West Ham because Catalan obviously don't bring a big support. It's a way of getting people into the ground. And I was thinking about this and I thought, do you know what? I mean, it's one of those whereby if teams actually looked at who their lowest gates were, so let's say, for example, I'm just going to use Warrington as an example. Let's say that the average gate for the last 3 seasons, Wakefield at home has been 8,500 people. Why don't we turn around and say all travelling supporters' children come for £1?
Within
a company, an adult. So you can have so you can come on the bus for £1, and you know when you buy a Wakefield ticket through the Wakefield shop as a child, it's £1.
Yeah,
because again, because even though hopefully they get hooked on rugby league by coming to, in this example, Warrington, but they might show up at Wakefield next week, you know, in the home ground. I think that there's a bit of mileage in that actually we could build on this. Away supporters, children £1, because why wouldn't you? It's a great way of growing the gates.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, I had the idea of at Magic Weekend in Newcastle. Why doesn't every Super League team adopt a school and learn a bit of the history of Wigan, Warrington, St Helens, Castleford?
Yeah.
Supply them with kits.
Yeah.
Organize games, and then bring those teams go to Magic Weekend. Those schools go to Magic Weekend for free. Support that team, and who knows? Bring those teams up down to Warrington, to Wigan, to play a game against local schools.
Completely
a Warrington team of 11-year-olds, 15-year-olds, whatever. Get marketing. Newcastle's a big ground to fill.
It is.
So let's fill it with local, and those kids will bring their parents.
And they're the future. And they're the future of the sport. If you can, it's like everything. I remember when I went uni, and when I went uni, the HSBC used to give free rail cards out with a student bank account. They didn't do it because they wanted you to use the overdraft facility and all the rest of it. They knew that if you open that bank account as a student, after you finish with your student days and you finish with your rail card, the chances are you might actually stick around and bank with them. It's not rocket science. It's the same here. We can attract kids at a young age to just come and watch the game. These are the future of the sport. These are the people who are going to be on the terraces in 70 years when me and you are pushing up daisies, mate. I'm just being. I think we're both. I think we're safe on that assumption, mate.
I have no intention of doing that just yet.
I don't see me and you being here for another 70 years, mate. Right. Okay. Round.
Having said that, though, Dave, those kids in Newcastle or wherever who go to Magic Weekend, then might go and watch Newcastle Thunder.
Gateshead Thunder, no.
The week after.
Mike Pratt, good evening to you, sir. Good friend of mine, Mike. Grew up with Mike, he's a good lad. John Wilkinson, John, Ken Bailey, good evening. Right, before we take a look back at all the tries from round number 3 and debate the goings on in those games, let's take a look at who the top performers were in round number 3. So there they were, the top performers from round number 3. Greg, some very impressive performers in there.
Yeah, especially from Jake Connor coming back.
Especially from Jake Connor. Yeah, we'll get into that. But interesting, we mentioned Paul McShane a moment ago. Second week in a row, he was top tackler. Obviously, says a lot about Castleford's possession at the moment. But they're top tackler for the last 2 weeks.
And possibly that's why he's not having such an effect on games, because he's having to do so much defence. It's taking it out of the tank.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate.
And he's getting on a bit now. He's all Paul, although I'd never say that to his face.
Well, it's interesting. Again, I read an article this week. I think it might have been in the League Express as well, where I think it was Martin Sadler again. Actually, it was on about the age dynamic of the Castleford Tigers. That only the vast majority of the players are over 30, and maybe by the time it's all right. I mean, maybe 3 or 4 of your starting players the wrong side of 30, but when actually the lion's share and you've only got 2 that are anywhere near mid-20s, over the course of an 80-minute rugby league game, that's going to catch you out. And you might have a point in that. I mean, we'll review round 4 in a minute, a bit later on. Massive game coming up for Castleford there.
I mean, age, experience versus, it's an interesting point that he makes.
I agree. Should we get into some action, sir? Should we get into some action? We can talk around some action as we're going through. Let's do that. Right. Okay. So we're going to kick off with the Leeds Rhinos taking on the Dragons. As always, we'll give a punt out. All of our pictures coming from the Super League YouTube channel. Normally within 12 hours, normally the next morning, all the highlights from the previous game's action, night's action will be there for you to see. That's what we're showing. Me and Greg will have a quick look through them with you as we go through. Of course, this was Catalan Dragons 10, Leeds Rhinos 4. A couple of different opinions on who man of the match was. Some gave it to Michael. Oh, dearie me. Mickey McAlorum. We've gone Joe Chan. We've gone Joe Chan at Super League Raw. There's a reason why we've gone with Joe Chan. His all-round game, not only did he score the try, of course, that ended up getting him the win, but, his all-round performance, he's got something like 150-odd metres in that game.
Yeah, I thought McMeekin was impressive as well.
McMeekin was, but he was no way, and this is it. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I was impressed with Chan on the night. He did a lot of hard running. Just to put this in... Put this into context, because again, you're right. Some have gone McMeekin for this, but just putting it into context, Joe Chan scores his try, 19 tackles, 17 carries for 133. When you compare that to McMeekin, 11 carries for 79, no try. Oh, he did a lot more in defence, McMeekin, to be fair. And of course, Mickey McAlorum got some plaudits. Again, 41 tackles, good effort, no issues there. But nowhere near the effort that Chan put in. So we've gone Chan. We've gone Chan just because we can. That rhymed as well.
Here we go. Well done. Yeah.
Blake Austin. Another one. What did you think? Was this a try or double movement?
Double movement all day long, mate.
I thought it was a double movement.
Double movement all day long.
I have to say. But that said, encouraging. I mean, Caesar for me hasn't got going. But Blake Austin, I think the Rhinos fans will be pleased with his first 2 outings.
Yeah, he's looked free of the shackles that were ever kind of held him back at Warrington, to be honest.
Yeah,
and if Caesar does start firing, then Leeds fans have got something to look forward to. But I think this was. I mean, the hands on him there.
Yeah, it's a close one.
I thought it was double movement, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
didn't matter in the end.
No.
Didn't matter in the end. Hello to Sean Allen Spencer. Good evening to you as well, mate. Good to have you along for the ride. Craig Sykes, how are you, mate? Good to have you with us. Get involved. But yeah, good try there from Blake, joining Jack, still alive and well in Super League, and then Castleford bouncing back.
Catalan.
Sorry, Catalan. Yeah. For what you
sounded like Bill Arthur, mate.
I know, mate. My apologies. It's because it's not like you. I'm multitasking this side.
I'm multitasking.
Fawad, drinking and speaking. Fawad Jahar. Another great performance from him last year. He's got off to a decent start again this year, hasn't he? A couple of tries early doors.
He's a reliable player. He doesn't often let you down. If we're being honest, he very rarely lets you down.
No.
And he knows where the try line is. He finishes off.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
What's that? Hello. What's happened there? Let's get that going again. Don't know what's happened there. But yeah, no, you're right. Good try. I mean, from there, he's not going to miss. He's very good from 10 metres out when you give him a ball like that. Good flat pass, actually, from Tompkins. Will Tompkins be fit to play the wire? That's going to be interesting.
He's a big question mark over him.
Sean, you with friends here. Sorry, Greg. Sean Allen Spencer got slated on Twitter for suggesting that Austin's try was a double movement. You with friends here, Sean? Yes. You with friends? And there he is, Joe Chan. Good try.
I can't argue that he was player of the game.
Yeah.
I think he caused them a lot of problems.
Yeah. He's, like I say, interesting as well, because Joe Chan probably wouldn't actually be in the 17 if it weren't for the. I mean, we haven't mentioned that that is a definite penalty. I mean, how that wasn't given on the night, it's a blatant push. And of course, it led to the try.
Right.
But Joe Chan probably wouldn't have been in the team, would he? If they had all the players available to him.
Well, no, and you know, it's an impressive performance from Catalan. I know Leeds have got a lot of players missing as well, but Catalan's strength is in the pack.
Yeah,
I think we all know that, and you know, that's why I was impressed with McMeekin. He was a second rower stepping up as a prop. But yeah, Chan maybe could have made a bench spot at best. But yeah, fantastic performance.
Richard Agar there showing his displeasure at that. Again, you know, going back into League Express, Gary Schofield and Martin Sadler both saying that, you know, Agar, is he under pressure? I mean, we saw this last year with Leeds. They got off to a shocker last year. They ended up in the playoffs. I don't think he's not under too much pressure, I don't think, at this stage.
Forgive me, Leeds fans, and feel free to have a go, but it's part of the game that Leeds play every season. It is every season. They have several first teamers out injured at the start of the season, suspended, injured, whatever, and then come the playoffs. The good Lord raises them from the dead, and they're all fired and ready to go. I'm sorry, Leeds fans, but you know it gets a little bit boring now, boys. Let's try something different.
But again, I'm trying to remember.
Sorry if that was controversial, but
always controversial. But there was again. I'm trying to remember. It was a coach in league, and again he was bang on. It might have been. Either Rowley, it might have been Willie Poaching. One of the, you know, this violin in terms of, you know, there's certain teams who've got quite a lot of players out at the moment. Look, at the end of the day, you know, this is a great opportunity. Lewis Dodd, Will Price, you know, we've got Conor Wrench. It's an opportunity for these young kids to come,
Riley Dean,
and I mean, and show what they're made of, and you know, just got to get on with it, lads. It's a 27-round season. Let's crack on. You've still got enough quality in you. I mean, look at what Wakefield's done. We'll get to the Wakefield game in a bit, but Wakefield, first 3 rounds, I mean, their 3 quarters have been decimated.
Exactly.
They've been competitive every game. So
there's a great saying in sport that you're only as good as your reserves.
Well, absolutely.
And as we saw pre-season, there were a lot of teams who went very deep into their reserves with good players.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, there were a few teams who looked weak. I think we said Salford, but they were doing, up until this weekend, they were doing quite well.
Well, again, we'll look at round 4. I think that's an interesting game, that Huddersfield Salford, but we'll get to that. Get to that. Right. We said in our preview to the new season, I want to know what you think of the Wakey Sin Bin. We'll get to it, Sean. We'll get to it. We'll start the season in the preview shows. We spoke about Wigan, and both you and I, having seen them at the Ratchford game, we said right off the bat that we felt that Wigan this season looked a different animal. They came up against a very, very in form Huddersfield side who didn't let themselves down on the night. Were very, very competitive. Liam Farrell we've gone for in terms of the man of the match. Farrell's got off to a phenomenal start to the season. We actually put one of his tries up for try of the round. We will share with you the try of the round, but Farrell's was one that we put up. He hasn't actually made the top 3, but Farrell's in great form. Let's take a look at this. Really good tries from Wigan. Really good tries. They're looking apart. Obviously, a minute silence for Regana, who sorry, Twiggamala, wasn't it?
Twiggamala, yeah.
Where's Regana come from? I was talking about Regana today. That's what it was. Regana was in bed. We were talking about Regana at the match today. Here it is. Great first strike. Look at this. Kai Pearce ball. Phenomenal offload. That's what he's got that in his game. That's a lovely try, that. It's a lovely try. As you said around the England squad, good to see Kai Pearce ball getting his shot, because he's a player, isn't
he? Do you know what? And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better, Kai Pearce Paul. What's his best position? Is it second row? Is it centre?
He can play either or, can't he?
Time will tell. But look at Liam Farrell. He's as effective for the second row as he is the centres.
Phenomenal, mate. So, Chris McQueen there going over his 3rd try in 2 games.
Yeah, that was a soft try. That was a real soft try.
Yeah, I agree. Was good run that from dummy half there.
Yeah,
nice little
this
kick
is a
over
good
the
try.
top. Yeah, it was a good try. Took it well, La Hoya, didn't he? You know, it took a little
Yes.
bit of
Ooh,
took a bit
I
of
don't know what he
juggling,
was
but
thinking of there.
no,
Just
I
get the
know.
ball down, son. Just get the ball down.
Yeah, and John Bateman. Everybody was disappointed with Bateman last year. He'll be happier for that. He's got off to a better start this year, hasn't he?
I think that was Bateman looking almost back to his best on, was it Thursday night?
Yeah, right on the shoulder. Cade Cust again. Sam Powell setting that one up. Cade Cust again. He had a solid game for Wigan. Cade Cust in that one, and I know again that you said he was a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah, my
Steel,
dark horse, Man of Steel. Yeah.
Yeah, you said. Yeah, I mean, again, another assist for Cade Cust. Good kicking game on him as well. Had a really good game. And, Huddersfield competitive, obviously going against Salford round 4. Be interesting to see how they go on that one. But 22-12, they can leave Wigan, I think, with a head held high on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
And to be fair, I mean, I was keeping one eye on that while I was watching the game on Sky, and they stayed within touching distance for the lion's share of that game.
I think I had that as 18 plus to Wigan this week. So
you did.
They let me down. They let me down badly this week.
Well, mate, I'm having a shocker. I can't even begin to tell you how disappointed. I think I beat you this week by a point. I think, but I'm a long way back. Right, and then of course there was this was one for the purists, wasn't it? It wasn't a spectacle. It really wasn't a spectacle. The Hull KR Castleford game. It was one for I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I thought, but it was one. It was one for the purists. Again, a lot of different opinions in terms of who man of the match was. On the night we were a bit surprised that Sky gave it to Matt Parcell. I watched the game back again, and actually Parcell had a really, really good game. To be fair, in the match, as did Mikey Lewis. He had a good game. Good to see Sam Wood doing so well as well in the game. But we on second glance, Parcell probably worthy.
If I'm being honest, I thought I thought Mikey might have just shaved it.
Yeah, and I can see Lewis. That. Yeah, I wouldn't have disagreed, mate. But Castleford, mate, dearie me. There just doesn't seem to be much get up and going. And great run. That's a great run from Matt Parcell. Really, really nice. They're just not firing, are they? They look terrible, actually. Castleford for me.
Yeah, that stat about a lot of over 30s in the team, that they lost some players, but they've also gained some players. A couple of injuries, but something getting used to something getting. They've had. Let's face it, though, they've had Darryl Powell for 8 years.
Yeah,
they've had structures for 8 years. They've been settled for 8 years. Suddenly, Radford will come in. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but he's a different coach, and they've got different things to deal with, different training concepts, and it might be taking them a little while to settle into the new setup.
Well, I saw on the Castleford Facebook page, they were questioning.
This is a good try.
It was a good try. What has Radford done to Paul McShane? Because Paul McShane just looks nothing like at all.
No, but as you say, as before, the number of tackles he's doing per game.
Yeah.
It's taking it.
Yeah. Oh, what's happening here? My apologies. That's my fault. We do say we're raw. We're not professionals. We'll get back to it. Here we go. Let's get back to it. There you go. There you go.
Move back.
We're back in. Yeah, move back. We'll see back. That. We'll see the Jordan Turner try again. But there's Jordan Turner going.
I'm not so sure that wasn't a double movement.
He was pretty confident. I think sometimes you've got to look at him in real
time. On the night, I thought this was a double movement. I've got to admit. But going back to McShane, he's obviously a classy player, but he's probably maybe doing it. I'm not sure about that. He's obviously doing expected to do a little bit too much in defence, I think, at this moment in time. I think, I'm not sure.
The halfbacks are, no matter which, no matter what the combination is, Truman, O'Brien, or obviously we know Richardson's out. But the halfbacks as well, there just doesn't seem to be enough in them for me. When you look at, for example, in this game, you've got Abdul and Mikey Lewis. There's no comparison, is there?
No. And maybe, the Castleford pack isn't making the same holes that it used to do.
Yeah. No.
to let those play. This is
That was good. That's a nice try.
Yeah.
Good hands, that.
Yeah.
Really, really.
I'm glad for Wood because he had a shocker.
Who's that?
The other week, Wood. He had an absolute shocker the other week. I'm glad he's bounced back. With a couple of good tries.
Yeah. And I say that's a cracking little offload there from Tagarangi, in it. Really good.
He's a good player, Tagarangi, however you say it.
Yeah,
he's a
unit, mate.
He reminds me of Gelling.
Yeah,
when Gelling played for Wigan. That's who he reminds me of.
Similar build, isn't he?
Similar build. And could stand in the tackle and offload like Gelling could do.
That's a good finish, Greg. That's a good finish. That, I mean, he's got no right.
Try, but a good finish.
Got no right to score that from there.
No,
the defender's in really good. But I like the fact that he backed himself. I'm going in here, and you're going to do nothing about it, and he just went straight in. As you say, really pleased for Sam Wood. Good.
Yeah, I mean, by all rights, he doesn't score that.
No.
And that little cheeky arm there, he knows, proving he knows where the trial is, which is always a good thing for a winger.
Absolutely. I like this try. Really, I mean, again, Sam Wood again there, good offload, really good. Lewis going through, fantastic into Parcell, cracking try that. And again, Wood, he doesn't get the assist for that, but it's as good as an assist, isn't it?
Yeah, he makes the initial break. Good footwork, makes the initial break. Yeah.
Danger.
That was close to my try of the week, I've got to admit.
Yeah, close. I mean, in this one, actually, this particular try was the try that we put on for this particular game. And I can tell you now, drum roll, please, the Super League Raw fans, forum members, put this as their second favourite try with 23% of the vote this week. It came in number 2. So this is number 2 this week.
Yeah, it was close to my try of the week, I've got to admit. It was a good try.
It was indeed. And then, of course...
that was clever.
Yeah, and deserved it on the night, didn't he? Deserved it on the night. He had a decent game.
I think very, very, very close to team of the week.
Hulkar?
No, sorry, in the team of the week. He's placed in team of the week.
There's a lot of good set there. Yeah, I mean, God, there was a load of senses this week. I mean, Sean Kenny Dowell had a good game in this game. Yeah, Angie had a good game.
Yeah, I mean that for a handoff is monstrous.
Yeah, Kai Pearce-Paul had a good game.
Yeah,
it could go on and on and on. Really,
Toby King had a good game.
Yeah, and there's Imo going in the corner.
Ruined my 18 plus.
It did indeed. I felt your heartbreak from about 20 miles down the M6, mate. I felt your heartbreak on that. It's an absolute. I have to say, I did have a little wry smile to myself. I do apologise, but no, I mean, well done to KR. I mean, obviously that's KR's first win of the season. Both of those two teams were looking for the first win of the season.
Yeah.
KR came out. Debbie Williams McGann was in to lose this week. I know she was on the sauce with a fella going to watch the wire. Well done, Debs. Good effort to you. Kev Clifford, welcome. Alan Butterfield, welcome. Adrian Broom, welcome as well. So that was the Robins getting off the mark. Obviously, I wouldn't say, again, touch of class from Tony Smith at the end of that game, trying to take the pressure off Lee Radford a little bit. Saying we're going to come good.
No, we don't. We're the Tony Smith fan club. We don't need. The guy's a class act all around. Tony
Absolutely.
Smith. I will not hear a bad word against the guy.
Absolutely not. That takes us to the champions who are in champion form, coming up against Wakefield Trinity. We spoke about Wakefield a few moments ago. Obviously, they've had their injury concerns. Mark Percival, we opted for in terms of them, and that's got off to a great start to the season. Percival and 2 more tries in this game. But yeah, Saints looking very, very good. It's a good little break, this actually, wasn't it? Really,
it was.
Break. Off we go. Tom Johnson looking like he's back to his best and groove. But this was Percival's first try, and good try as well. Really, really good try. This also we put in as a contender, the try of the week, and that came third. No, not this one. No, the Percival one.
Oh, sorry.
13% of the vote. Mark Percival got by the forum members, so he also doesn't pick up the nod for this week. James Roby going in.
Yeah, I mean, blimey, he must be 136 now, James Roby, but still scoring good tries. This is a nice little break.
Actually, I think this was. I'm sorry. I think this was the try that we put in.
Yeah,
Try
I
two.
didn't know whether he was offside at the kick there.
Yeah. No.
He did look in front, but obviously.
Second time this season they played that move. Wakefield
And
Trinity.
yeah, and it's a good try. And Tom Johnson again.
Yeah.
If he stays fit, he'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely, mate. And has to be a contender for good run that from Lewis Dodd.
Yeah.
Again, Lewis Dodd deserving, obviously held up, but Lewis Dodd deserving of his place in the training camp, I would say.
I agree. With you. Yeah, and it's nice to see at least some youngsters being given the head. Yeah. But this is a good break as well.
It is.
Nice support, nice backing up.
There's a couple of a lot of Saints fans were very complimentary of the Wakefield performance. Even though on paper 20 points to 4 Sims, obviously marking his 21st birthday with a try. Good luck to the lad. But
big Alex Walmsley,
Big Al didn't have his usual game. Alex Walmsley in this.
Well,
one.
He deserves to have an off day every now and again, mate. You know what I mean? He's monstrous every week.
We just expect more from Big Al.
And that yellow card was.
Yeah, well, this is what the guys were talking about a minute ago. So let's just go back and have a look at this. This, of course, is What's your thoughts here?
I don't even know what it's for.
No, I don't think anybody did.
I don't even know what that yellow card is for.
No, it's absolutely bonkers.
Even the Saints players are like looking at each other.
Answers on a postcard. I mean, in fact, let's have a look again. Let's see if we can try and spot exactly what that is for. So where is he? He's there, right? So he's there in back play.
Yeah.
So it's a late hit.
Is it a late hit?
That's not. I mean, that is not. That's never in a million years.
Absolute lunacy.
So in answer to Sean Allen Spencer, he says, "What do you think of the Wakey sin bin?" I think it's really poor, mate. If I'm being honest, I don't think that is a sin bin. No, and
I just words fail me on that.
Yeah.
Come on, please. And what's this one for?
I don't know what. Let's have a look at this one. So who's going for a little walk there? I didn't quite catch who that was. Then is it a late hit? Yeah, he's gone late hit again. So watch there. So it's Lusic. I mean, look at Lusic here. It literally just taps him over. Watch number 14. Here he comes. There, 16. Sorry. Is it Lusic? Yeah. Oh no, is it Sirenen?
Sirenen. He's got a band for that.
He's got a match for it. He's got a match for it. Now, mate, what's the world coming to? If those are yellow cards, I mean, they're not even a yellow in the game, let alone a ban after the game. So again, I think there's a lot of talk. The coaches are on it. The players are now starting to get involved. The fans certainly are a little bit bemused by some of this. It's not tiddlywinks, is it?
You know, end though, Dave. It's that neither of those are even a penalty.
No, I agree.
Let alone a yellow card.
No, completely agree. Can't disagree with you,
Greg. A ban for Sirenen to get a ban.
Shocking.
I think he did get a ban. He got a game.
He's got a game. He's got a game, mate.
For that?
Got a game.
Please.
Got a game, mate. It's got a game. It's an absolute shocker.
Behave. Come on.
Right, we go to the AKM. The AKM for the demolition. The demolition. God, I always thought demolition were WWE wrestlers, but no. This weekend it was Hull FC.
What a performance by Hull. Took me by surprise.
It took everybody by surprise. Salford in a rich reign of form. And, unleashed is Jake Connor, over 10,000 in the AKM to watch this one. Well done, Jake Connor. Absolutely phenomenal performance. And just brilliant. Great. Look at that. That's a lovely kick. It's a lovely kick. And the thing, when you watch these highlights, it's a bit of everything from Connor. Cut out balls, simple passes. Cameron Scott there going in for his first of two. It was a really, really good performance.
That's a nice little pass. And that's a nice little pass as well. This whole move was a...
Yeah. Well, this is the try of the week as voted by the fans forum. 54% of the vote went to Cameron Scott's second try.
Me too. It was just the handling, the kick, everything was just a great rugby league try.
It was, mate. It was. It's Lefay going in for his first.
And that's a good try, though. That's a good try.
Yeah, took it well. Good hang time.
Yeah.
But took it well. And here he is
almost
again,
Ronaldo-esque, sir.
Here he goes again, Jake. Just absolute handful. Absolute handful in the game. This was Sneed's yellow, which, and to be fair, what Sneed's doing there, he knows he can wind Connor up.
Yeah, and did his job.
He was trying to wind Connor up. I think in Sneed's obviously knows he can get at him. There's Connor's try,
Yeah.
but it didn't work on this occasion. Connor.
Connor did bite.
Look at that.
And that's quite possibly why he's not in the England training squad.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, Steve's coming again here, Steve Cart, saying it's coming like football. Don't think it's that bad yet, Steve, but I take your point. We've got to clamp on it, got to clamp down on it. Yeah. But Connor in this game was unplayable. Absolutely unplayable.
I wish he would iron out that part of his game that makes him want to fight everybody when it's not going his way. If he could get that discipline in his game, I reckon he would be nailed on an international spot.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you, mate. And
even man of steel. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, he spends more time on the sidelines through suspension.
Yeah.
And in a World Cup, you can't afford a player like that. This is a brilliant try.
Yeah, it's a great try. Though. Yeah,
it was a bit forward though.
The CO try was a good try. It has to be said.
Look at that. He was that surprised. He nearly didn't stop.
Well, I think actually people just open the door and let him through there. To be quite frank, yeah. If you want to come into the party that much, let me just hold the door open for you. Come on into.
He almost didn't stop though. He was that surprised. Everything opened up. He's like, "What do we do?"
It was again good to I like it when a prop scores. Again, Chris Satte, brilliant performance last year.
Yeah.
He's a beast of a prop forward. I've always got a soft spot.
Starting from the bench.
No.
Get him on from the start.
But are you the same? I've always got a soft
spot
for him.
You're frozen.
Oh, have I? Am I back? Can you hear me, sir? Oh, well, I think I'm still going, so I'm gonna keep talking. Yeah, no, I'm definitely. It's actually Greg, I think, that's frozen. We've lost Greg momentarily. He's back.
You froze there. You froze on me as well.
No, I'm live. I'm watching it. It was you, mate.
Was it me?
Yeah, it's you. But not to worry. Right. Jake Connor, probably player of the round, I would say.
I would have thought so.
By a country mile.
I think that was his best performance for quite some time.
For a long time. And then Warrington. I think Warrington fans will be a bit disappointed in this performance. It's 2 points. That's what matters at this time of the season. I think most Warrington fans would have expected more. George Williams for the second week in a row, getting man of the match.
Yeah, it was superb.
Yeah, play well.
When you consider that Widdop pulled out the last minute and Riley Dean was playing, I can understand disappointment, but a win's a win.
Yeah, good kick. Good to see Toby King back on the score sheet after the first couple of rounds.
You can always guarantee Toby King will be on the end of a kick.
What did you make of this? To lose taking 2 at this point in the game, I just didn't get that at all.
I think they were just maybe they didn't want to get nilled. I don't know.
Maybe, but
maybe they thought it was their only chance of points. Josh Charlie got revitalised under Darryl Powell. Who knew if he passed the wing to the wingers, they might score?
Yeah, good. Exactly. He's going to benefit by Matauti. Matauti is going to have a big impact on Josh Charlie this season. Big impact.
Yeah. Matauti was again superb in this game.
This makes me laugh. So Matauti here. Oh God, I can't be bothered running that far. Yeah, George, you go and run.
Have a run, son. Yeah.
I can't be bothered sprinting that far. You go and take it on, son.
And yet he's not far behind him when the try scored. I mean, Ashton showed a turn of pace there to get in there with him.
Yeah. This was my try of the week. Poor defence from Warrington, but on his debut, he'd only been over there for 48 hours.
This it was very close to it. Yeah. Pushed the try of the week quite away. That, but a good try. Again, really surrounded by poor defence.
Lovely offload from Matauti.
Josh Charlie's only a few away from topping the charts now.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of years out in Union. That's a good show.
It is a good show. And again, Warrington at the end, just took the foot right off the gas at the end, Warrington. And, they'll be disappointed. They can't do this against the Catalan on Friday.
No.
Because they will be punished. I mean, it was a poor end to the game from Warrington. But, I think most Warrington fans, as most Wigan fans, 3 games down and 6 points, I think they'll be quite happy. I think they'll take that one.
I think it's all about winning at this point of the season. It's not about, win by 1 point, win by 1 point. At this point of the season, it's all about racking the points up. Towards the end of the season, points difference might become a factor, but just get the wins in. Widdop pulled out with illness, so Riley Dean was put in there at the last minute. Stood up well. a couple of other missing players. So, a poor end for Warrington. Toulouse fought back, didn't give up. I think Toulouse were probably my team of the week because they didn't give up and they kept going. And everybody expected Warrington to put a cricket score against them. And, they didn't. So fair play to them. But for that reason, they got my team of the week, Toulouse. Because there was a chance they could have been embarrassed. And they didn't. They kept going. And fair play to the lads.
Fair play. Right. Before we get into the predictions, as always, we've looked at round number 3. Should we have a look and see who's in our team of the week, sir?
Yeah.
Should we have a little nosy?
A soiree.
Into a team of the week. Let's do that. So here is the Super League team of the week. Let's have a look. Ooh, can you hear that? No, you can't. Can we hear that, sir? It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 3. Here we go again. And at number 1, it's Jake Connor of Hull FC. Magnificent performance from Jake Connor with a try and 6 assists in this game. It just goes to show how important he is to the black and whites. At number 2 and on the wing is Sam Wood of Hull KR. After a torrid game against the Wigan Warriors earlier in the campaign, Sam Wood with his 2 tries but also his breaks throughout this game was very, very good indeed. Well done to Sam Wood. At number 3, it's Cameron Scott. 2 tries for the black and whites in their demolition of the Salford Red Devils. Of course, they were in great form, weren't they, before this game? 134 metres to boot, keeping out Sean Kenny Dowell this week. And at number 4, it's Mark Percival of St Helens, keeping out Toby King of the Warrington Wolves. 2 tries, 2 offloads, 110 metres gained. Percival continues his impressive start to this season. And on the left wing, well, it had to be, didn't it? Josh Charlie of the Warrington Wolves, having got his 200 and 201st try in Super League. Charlie has had 2 tries in every game thus far this season. Well played, Josh Charlie. And at number 6, it's Mikey Lewis of Hull KR. Anybody who watched the game against the Castleford Tigers could only be impressed by Mikey Lewis. He really did run the show. Some brilliant little darts and, of course, 2 assists. Well done to Mikey. At number 7, George Williams of the Warrington Wolves, keeping his place week on week. A very good breakaway try set up by Peter Matautia, giving him over 100 metres this week. But actually, he controlled the game for the Warrington Wolves against the Toulouse Olympic. At number 8, it's Joe Chan of the Catalan Dragons. Not only did he score what was a very important try against the Leeds Rhinos, but look at the amount of metres he made throughout the game. 133, keeping out Big Alex this week. Well done to Joe. And at number 9, Matt Parcell of Hull KR. He was in and around the team of the week quite a lot, wasn't he, last year? But here he is again with a try and 34 tackles in the game, 140 metres. Matt Parcell back to his best. And at number 10, keeping his place week on week, is George King. What a great start to the season George King is having. Another 153 metres gained in this game and 22 tackles made. And at number 11, keeping his place, he's just hard to move. For the 3rd week in a row, it's Liam Farrell of the Wigan Warriors. 2 more tries, 105 metres, 36 tackles in defence. Who's going to shift him? And at number 12, well, it was a close call between Jordan Lane and this man, John Bateman, but John Bateman's all-round performance with 31 tackles and 158 metres just about keeping Jordan Lane out of the team this week. And finally, at loose forward, Ben Garcia of the Catalan Dragons, the Captain Marvel of the French team, 51 tackles, 110 metres. This man had a great game against the Leeds Rhinos. Ladies and gentlemen, your team of the week for round number 3. So there it is, the team of the week for round number 3. Greg, your thoughts on that one, sir?
I can't argue any of that. I thought Mike McMeekin, as I said, maybe had a good shout as prop. Yeah. But as we said, Joe Chan, a great performance. Yeah. Toby King pushing there.
Absolutely. And Sean Kenny Dowell. Sean Kenny Dowell, he was in and around it as well.
McQueen for Huddersfield had another good performance.
Yeah, Tommy Luluai as well for Wigan had a good game. He could have got in there quite easy. Jordan Lane, as mentioned in the video as well.
Yeah, there are a few people who are taking the place now. George Williams, Liam Farrell, George King. King. He's having a
unbelievable.
Yeah,
George
wow
King,
of the season.
Yeah, has had a great start to the season. Keeps Alex Wormsdale this week. Liam Farrell, the only player to be in all 3 rounds, team of the week. The only player. There's a few in there that's had a couple of shots. Percival's his second week for George Williams, second week for George King. But Liam Farrell, the only player to date. Can he keep it? Will he be there in week 4? Who knows? We'll have to.
I think it would only be injury suspension that keeps Liam Farrell out of this team. He's just Mr. Consistency week in, week out.
It's phenomenal, mate. It's phenomenal.
Not week in, week out, but season in, season out. You know, he's just such a vital player for Wigan because if a centre gets injured, he slips into centre and performs just as well.
Yeah, well, it breaks my heart to show this one, mate. It breaks my heart to show this one. But here we go. This is the Predictions League off the back of last week. The Fans Forum had a phenomenal week. 19 points the Fans Forum got last week.
Wow.
Great effort, guys, from you. We're sharing with you in a moment your tips for the week ahead. But yeah, those 19 points taking you above Greg. Greg got 13 last week, and I again having a shocker 11. I thought I'd pick you by 2, but actually it's the other way around, sir. You picked me by 2. So I'm having had a really good year last year. At the moment, I've not found my sea legs in this season.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, sir.
A marathon, not a sprint, indeed. So
as I found out to my cost last year.
Indeed. Let's get into it. Let's get into predictions now for the week that is on its way. Before we do, actually, let's take a look at how they stand. My apologies, getting them right ahead of myself here. How they stand. So here it comes. This is the Super League table as we currently sit after 3 rounds. 3 teams sit on a maximum 6 points. Those being St Helens, Wigan, and Warrington. Behind them come Huddersfield, Hull FC, and the Salford Red Devils, and of course Catalan Dragons. 2 of those teams, of course, go head to head this week. Huddersfield against Salford. That'll be an interesting game. We'll get talking about that in a moment. Then, of course, KR with their first win, and then the 4 teams, of course, who have not got off and running. Of course, Wakefield play Leeds, so we know that at least one of those will pick up points this week. And of course, then you've got Castleford and Toulouse Olympic at the bottom. Early days yet. But if you're at the top, well done, and a lot of work to do at the bottom. Let's take a look then at fixtures that are coming up in round number 4. Wakefield Trinity taking on the Leeds Rhinos. Warrington Wolves will host the Catalan Dragons. Hull KR take on St Helens. Toulouse host Wigan. The Huddersfield Giants take on Salford, and the Castleford Tigers welcome the Black and Whites Hull FC. So we'll start off by talking about the first game, which is on Sky, live at 8 o'clock on Thursday night at the Be Well Support Stadium. Wakefield Trinity taking on the Leeds Rhinos. Confirmed absentees. Again, still problems in the 3 quarters for Trinity. No Bill Tupu, Lee Kershaw, Jack Croft, Lee Gaskell, and of course Tom Lynham now out for Trinity.
Yeah.
As for the Leeds Rhinos, Tom Allroyd ankle, Richie Marlowe we know is going to be a long one. James Bentley will have his final game out for that suspension. Sam Walter's shoulder, Riz Mustafa out as well, and of course Alex Mellor. So both of them have got injury problems. As you can see there, the form guide, Wakefield have fallen to Hull, Catalan and Saints. Leeds have fallen to Warrington, Wigan and Catalan. So, Greg, what thoughts on this one?
This is a tougher one to call than it really should be.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Leeds 9-17. Simply because I think the halfbacks in Caesar and Austin will have a little bit too much for Wakefield.
Yeah.
I'm not going for a blowout. I think Wakefield have proved, despite the fact they've lost 3 games, that they can put up a good fight, and I hope they do.
Mason Lino back for this.
Yeah, but I think
expected. It'll be
Leeds 9-17.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I've gone Leeds. I've gone Leeds 0-8.
Okay.
But here we go. 57% of the Fans Forum believe that the winning team in this game will be the Wakefield Trinity.
Well,
yes, and they've gone. And the most popular score in the Fans Forum for this is 0-8. to Wakefield Trinity. So yeah, there you go. 57% of the vote going the way of Wakefield. That's
if that's the case, then I think Mr. Agar may well be a very worried man.
Yes. Well,
if that does happen.
Wakefield have got a great record against Leeds.
Great
record against Leeds. You know, and I was almost tempted to go the way of Wakefield, but I think Caesar and Austin. I think if Flying would have been playing, maybe.
This should have been his fourth game instead of what he was his first.
They've still got a lot of absentees. So yeah, for me, I think Leeds will get over. I'm going a bit closer, and I'm basing that on the fact that, you know, when you look at Wakefield, they've lost by 4 to Hull, they lost by 2 to Catalan. All right, St Helens, it's a 16-point margin, but that's St Helens. So, you know, for me, based on where they've been, I just think it may be a little bit tighter.
I just think there's going to be a game where
Leeds click,
Caesar and Austin click.
Yeah, I agree, mate.
And this is quite possibly the game that happens.
It could be. Equally, it might not be.
Equally, Wakefield could win by 18.
It could be. Well, I'll be watching. I know you'll be watching. We'll be doing our usual texting back and two. Now, for me personally, probably based on the fact that it's round 4, probably the first big heavyweight clash. I mean, Saints and Catalan fans will be saying, well, no, that was round 1. Round 1's round 1. It's the same as the Leeds Warrington game. It's the first round. You don't know if they're going to hit the ground running. We're 3 games in now. You know, Catalan have returned to a degree of form. This should be an absolute belter at the Halliwell Jones, 8 o'clock Friday, live on Sky. Wolves, no real changes. Obviously, Conor Wrench now added to their absentees. There's going to be checks on Ratchford and Mike Cooper before this. It is expected that Ben Curry and Gareth Widdop will return. As for the Dragons, Arthur Morg out if Sam Tompkins doesn't get into the team. Of course, he came up with a knee injury. Then Tyrone May expected to start at full back. Julian Busquets still out. Dylan Napper and Gil Dudson still suspended, as is Mickey McAlorum for this game. He also is going to be. So I would probably, is it De Costa?
It will be De Costa. I think Mickey McAlorum is a massive miss.
Especially in the form he's in. He's
and especially
he's nasty, and he gets under your skin as well in games like this.
And especially with the size of Warrington's pack. You know, it's well mooted that Warrington haven't got the biggest pack.
No.
No. I think if Tompkins, I think this game rests on Tompkins. Although, will he be 100% fit, and do you risk him? And I'm going to go Warrington 9-17 in this one.
Yeah.
Because I think Widdop's had a week. All right, he was ill. He's had a week's rest.
Yeah.
We should have Cooper back.
Yeah.
In the games that we've played bigger packs, and we've still managed to win. Yeah. We've shown that under Darryl Powell, we know how to beat teams with bigger packs. Although, you know, we've yet to come up against. I think the pack. I think if Catalan had their first,
Gudemon's back, isn't he? Gudemon's back.
He's good, and he's a good player, Gudemon.
Yeah.
But if they had their full pack out, I would have said that this would have been Catalan's there for the taking. But I think they're just missing too many players. They've gotten kind of a not the greatest record at Warrington. So I'm going to go 9-17 Warrington.
I actually, and like you, I was, my head's gone backwards and forwards. I think there's 2 tries in it. I think whoever wins will win by 2 tries. I've also gone Warrington 9-17, but here we go. The Super League Raw Fans Forum, 54% of the vote went with the Catalan Dragons. The Fans Forum believe the Catalan Dragons will win at the Halliwell Jones, and they've gone 0-8. That was the most popular scoreline. So be interesting to see if they're right or if they're wrong, but that's what the Fans Forum have gone with. Right, we now go to the next game, which is Hull KR. This is on Friday. It's at the same time Warrington game, obviously not on the TV. Hull KR taking on St Helens. The Robbins absentees. Now there's a stomach bug that is going round. It's been announced today that there's a bit of a stomach bug going around Hull KR. no names have been mentioned on that front, so we don't know if that's affecting people or not. What we do know is it is affecting their preparation a little bit. Ben Cook's out with his knee, Lewis Johnson out with his foot. Saints, just Regan Grayson, of course, Curtis Sirenen, who of course picked up that game. St. Helens in great form, good first win against Catalan, obviously comfortable win against Hull, and again, it's still a 16-point margin against Wakefield. As for Hull KR, of course, defeats to Wigan and Huddersfield, that win against Casford last week. The flair, the off the cuff Hull KR coming up against the juggernaut that is St. Helens at Craven Park. What's your thoughts, Greg?
It's no contest for me, this one. Saints 18 plus.
You're going Saints 18?
Yeah, I think, Hull KR have shown a lot of flair, but against a team like Saints, that could very well be their undoing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big test for George King. We've been talking about George King. He's had a
George
great start
King up against
season.
Alex Walmsley.
The big test, this one. Alex Vate's back as well, isn't he, for this one? Albert Vete, sorry. Yeah. He's back for this one. So
I mean, Vete's a big player. I'd love him at Warwick. Him and Satay, I would love in the front row at Warwick.
Yeah.
But I just Saints underperformed perhaps at home against Huddersfield, or Huddersfield overperformed. Maybe I'm being a bit disingenuous to Huddersfield, but Saints, I think, are going to hit Hull KR with everything. 18 plus, I think, St. Helens. Sorry, Hull KR fans.
I obviously you can't back against Saints. I think a bit closer. I think I'm going to go 9-17. Okay. I think on that. The fans forum. This might surprise you. 55% of the votes. 55% of the votes went to St. Helens. So that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it is.
55%. And actually, they believe only between 0 and 8. So the fans forum, giving a lot of respect to Hull KR. It has to be said. I was quite surprised at that, it only being 55%, I have to say.
Well, yeah, let's see. We shall find out.
So, as we did last week, before we go and take a final look at the final 3 games, should we have a look at who the top performers are in Super League season to date? Should we do that?
Well, have we not already done it?
No, the season today.
That was the week.
Season today. So get your air guitars out, ladies and gentlemen, and let's believe that this particular tune people enjoyed last week. The top performers in Super League up to round number 3. Here we go. So there you go. They're the top performers after round number 3.
Oh, I do love that song.
Yeah, but there's a bit of air guitar going on there.
That's why I'd say the camera off so I can headbang.
Yeah, a bit of air guitar. You can't beat a bit of air guitar, mate, on a Tuesday night. Tuesday night. What am I on about? Fantastic stuff. So some good top performance in there. Good to see again. Says there George King. Those meters made, mate, over 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely top draw. Sam Powell. massive tackler last year, leads the charts again this year, which is good to see. Good to see Tom Johnson in there as well, back from injury. Also good to see.
I really, as I said, I really, really hope Tom Johnson stays injury free, because if he can make that England team, if get Johnson on one wing and whoever on the other, that's
it's quite potent, isn't it? So
yeah, it is.
Let's get into the final 3 games then. We now travel over to France. A couple of late stragglers in. Simon Barker, Steve Clark, Greg. Steve Clark.
Good evening, sir.
There's a blast. Yes. Over to France we go. Olympic absentees. Matthew Jossame. Is it Jossame? I think. I'm not quite sure. I'll let you have a go at that next week. And Joseph Paulo. He's going to be suspended. Obviously, the form guide, a defeat in every game, convincingly. And then they're going up against the Warriors. The only absentees they've got, Ethan Havard, Ian Thornley. Apart from that, they're expected to have a full strength team. You can see their form guide. Decent win against Hull KR, decent win against Leeds, decent win against Huddersfield. Not blown anybody away yet, but unless they make wholesale changes, I do think the likes of Ollie Partington, probably Liam Byrne, Morgan Smithies might get a little bit of a run out here.
Even so, mate. I can only see a Wigan 18+ win for this one.
Yes, me too. Should we just move on?
What the fans forum said.
I'm trying my best. They've got 90% Wigan, and they too agree it's a Wigan 18+er all day long. So,
there's not a lot we can say about that, really.
Not really. Let's get on to a more juicy game then, because this one has got the potential to be probably one of the closest and one of the most intriguing games. Hot off the press as well, tonight, the Rugby Football League have announced that Ryan Brearley's suspension has been overturned, and therefore he will not be suspended for their trip to Huddersfield. Yeah, they've overturned his suspension. So hardly about Callum Watkins, Dan Sargent's out for the Salford Red Devils. Giants, Jack Hogger, Jake Ward, and of course Danny Levy will be out, suspended his final
Has
game.
He joined us this week?
I've not seen him this week, which is a great shame. I thought he might come back for week 2, but he hasn't. So we'll wait for him. It might be because we were an hour late. Might be because we were an hour late. He might have had to have gone to get an early night training in the morning. Huddersfield Giants against Salford. Salford, I think both of these really will be. I think both supporters, both teams will be happy. 4 points out of the first 3. One of them is going to have 6 out of 8. 6 points out of 8 come the end of the weekend. Whoa, where are you going with this one?
This is probably one of the 2 toughest calls of the week, and this and the next game are the 2 toughest to call. I think Salford will want to strike back, and they've been playing absolutely brilliant. And that performance from Hull, I think, it's taken everybody by surprise last week.
Yeah.
Giants performed well last week, but I'm going to go with Giants 9-17. They're at home. Has the Salford bubble burst? I don't know. I mean, I had them doing pretty well this season.
Yeah.
I just think of the 2 teams that are going to bounce back, I think Giants are probably the ones that are going to do it. I could be 100% wrong.
Well,
I'm going for Giants 9-17.
Yeah. And again, I agree. As do the fans forum. 80% went the way of Huddersfield, which is, considering how close this is, again, that was quite surprising. When you consider that, KR got 45% of the vote.
Yeah.
Huddersfield got 80%, 9-17 is the way they went.
Maybe we've got a lot of Huddersfield fans joining us.
Yes, well, maybe. Welcome along to our friends from Huddersfield.
More than welcome.
So all of us going the same there, which is interesting. So that's 2 games where actually it's not going to make a blind bit of difference to the league, but it is what it is. We obviously we picked prior to, so we'll keep it clean. And then finally, but by no again. Now then, this is an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So first of all, let's take a look at the absentees for this one. Some big ones for For the Castleford Tigers, Callum McClellan's still out with his knee. Jake O'Neill, hamstring. Fecky out with his Achilles. Richardson, neck. Liam Watts, of course, picking up a ban, as did Barreto Faremo. Both of those are banned. Also doubtful for them, Adam Milner is back. Kelly Edwards-Carr, Jake Mamo Head. For these, Hull, Scott Taylor out with his foot. Manu Mayo, hamstring. Joe Cater, Achilles. Luke Gale still suspended. Doubtful, albeit back in the 21-man squad. Carlos Tamarari and Cameron Scott as well might not make this one. Hull 2 from 3 wins against Wakefield and of course Salford. Just that defeat to St Helens in the middle, and of course that was hampered very much so by the yellow and the red cards. You'd have to say probably would have been a little bit closer than that had it been 13.
I would have thought so, yeah.
Castleford Tigers, obviously defeat surprisingly on the opening day to Salford, then Warrington, and of course last week by KR.
I think the absentees on either side, attitude and form.
Yeah.
I'm going for Hull 9-17. For some reason, Castleford could again do a Hull last week and turn it round. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I think I'm not saying there's something wrong at Castleford. I'm just saying they've not got to grips with whatever Radford is asking them to do. I think they've got a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions, and I see Hull building on last week, especially if Connor sparks like he did last week, and I'm saying Hull 9-17.
Right, so we have a little bit of a difference of opinion on this one, which is good. Right, so in terms of the fans forum, they have gone 80% of the vote went the way of Hull.
Yeah.
And they have also agreed with you, 9-17. I'm going 18. I'm going Hull 18 plus.
Okay.
And I'm going 18 plus for the pure. I know they're away from home, but Salford went into that game with form and they absolutely battered them. Hopefully they're not going to go into this one too cocky or complacent. But based on what I've seen from Castleford, if they can win 48-16 against Salford, I just think that it's going to be same again.
Do you know what this game hinges on?
Go for it.
Which Jake Connor turns up.
I agree, 100%. Yeah,
if you know, he could very well be 18 plus if the Jake Connor from last week turns up.
Yeah.
But I just think Castleford will put a fight.
Well, they're going to need to. But I'll tell you what's interesting, really interesting. Again, going back to the League Express this week. In the League Express this week, Lee Radford for me. Well, I don't. Have you got it? Have you got the Express?
I didn't get this week's, mate.
Right.
I didn't get this week.
So Lee Radford, I'll just bring you up to speed.
To admit, I get it every week, but this week I missed it.
Lee Radford, right. He's on about Truman. Now, I don't get the feeling that all is well in that camp to begin with. But in his article, he was interviewed after the game. He goes into Truman a bit. We need to start playing some football. He's talking about, True, he spent the back end of last season injured, so he's not played too much together. That's Gaz O'Brien talking about. But no, he said something in there and I was like, oh God, that just doesn't sound right. That's it there. So yeah, with Danny not there and Gaz in there for a second week. Gaz missed a fair bit of pre-season, so we really want True to step up and hold the fort and get us around the field. Hopefully next week we can see a bit of that. So that's pretty much saying that, Jake, mate, you've been crap. Which, for me, considering the feeling I get about Castleford, I don't think all is well in the camp. To actually...
They're not firing.
I think... To go and say that about Truman...
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. Don't know.
Do you know what? Is it a bit of the Moyes effect? Fergie was United's manager for so long, then David Moyes came in and it just didn't work. Radford's come in after Powell was there for so many years.
Yeah. Sometimes
it just doesn't work.
Sometimes.
Or it takes a lot of it, or it takes... I think Castleford will probably be lucky this year in that to lose. I think they're going to be very, very lucky to stay in Super League to lose.
Well,
so I think Castleford have got that luxury that they have got a season to try and work and get things right.
Well, here's one for you.
Go
Okay.
on.
If the game was to lose at home to Castleford this weekend, which way would you have gone?
I would have gone for Castleford, but not
Would
by
you?
many. Yeah, but not by many.
Imagine if that was the game and they lost.
Well, then Radford will be in trouble.
I don't actually know
Yeah.
when did they? In fact, I've got the fixture list there. When did they actually go? When did they actually play? Here we go. So they played Toulouse 1st of April at home.
So that's not that far off.
Well, no, and if you look at their next fixtures, so of course, they've got Hull this week.
Yeah.
Then they have Huddersfield. That's on Sky.
Yeah.
Then they go to Wigan. They're not getting out of that. And then they go to Toulouse. So, I mean, as I'm looking at that fixture list, if Hull turn them over, which they could do, they've then got to go to Huddersfield. And I will, this time next week, I'm probably going to sit here and back Huddersfield.
Depending on performances this week.
It would depend on the performances this week.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, Huddersfield at home against Castleford, I'd go Huddersfield.
Yeah.
They're going to get nothing at the DW.
No.
I just cannot see. That'd be like Lazarus if they got something at the DW, wouldn't it? And then they go to Toulouse. Oh, so they play Toulouse at home. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it would last till April the 1st. If they had no points at that point,
who have Toulouse got?
Toulouse. So Toulouse. I love this, by the way. I've got a little, God bless the Rugby League world this year, because they give a little pocket book with every first edition of the season for every team. Every team, and it's a wonderful thing. The little things that make us happy. So Toulouse, Wigan. Then they've got Wakefield at Wakefield. Oh dear, they've got Wakefield at Wakefield, and then they go to St Helens. So other than the Wakey game, which again could be interesting, especially if Wakey don't get anything this week against Leeds, Wakey to lose, then go head to head both on 0 points. So we might be having the same conversation around Willie poaching at that point, because I do think if either of those teams, Wakefield or Castleford, lose against Toulouse, that's trouble for the coaches.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, interesting times ahead.
That's
an hour and 25,
I think at this
mate.
moment in time, they are counting on Toulouse not winning any games.
I agree, mate. And that's not really what any team should be doing. You shouldn't be relying on others to lose. And I mean, we were saying for long periods last year, Salford, you were saying, weren't we? Salford are lucky that leaving this division. We said that lots of time last year. It's the same this year, I mean. Yeah, I mean, and let's be fair, Toulouse is still in the transfer market. If they could bring some, I mean, Ollie Asher-Bolt, great debut for him against Warrington. If they brought a few
great
more,
try.
Great try. It's going to be interesting. Right. So anyway, the predictions are in. We've gone through it. Hope if everybody's enjoyed that. That's an hour and 25. It's been very, very enjoyable as always, mate.
Flew by again, sir. It flew by.
We will be back this time next week at the regular time, hopefully, of 8 o'clock. If you missed any part of the show, then, of course, you can still catch it on the Fans Forum, but we will also be downloading it on our YouTube channel. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can get the chance. And, if you've enjoyed the show this week, then maybe, share the show. It will be on our Facebook page, so you can share it to your friends, and hopefully they'll become members of the forum. Spread it loud and proud. And yes, I'm talking to you, Andy King, Sean, Alan Spencer, David Senior, and I could go on and on. But yes, get it shared, get more people involved. And like I said, keep commenting, keep getting involved. Great to have you along with us. Enjoy your rugby league as always. We will be back next week. Greg, as always, thank you very much indeed for your company.
A pleasure. We shall see you all soon, and thanks for joining us, guys.
All the best, everybody. Bye.
Cheers.